Hi guys, welcome to AndroGuider. So today we will be checking out Android Pie based Resurrection Remix 7.0. Now before we begin, this is just a small thing that I discovered in the ROM, and this is there in Resurrection Remix 2. When you tap multiple times on the Android version, then you get this pie Easter egg, and when you tap multiple times on that, then you get to this drawing screen. And there are a lot of customizations in here as well. You can customize the stroke weight, the color, and there are some other settings that you can check out. Alright, so I will just quickly get back, and this is an official build of the ROM for the Poco F1, and the latest security patches are present, so you don't have to worry about that if your device is supported officially. And then there is the vendor security patch level that will obviously vary according to your device. And then you can see that the build date is 17th of Jan, so this was just released recently, I think just about 2 weeks back. There is yet an update is yet to come out, but this is the latest build that was available for my phone. I have already told you that this is the first build of Resurrection Remix for Android Pie, so there may not be that many number of features that you are used to from Resurrection Remix. So just give these guys some time, and most likely your favorite feature will make its way into the ROM in one of the future builds. So first up, we have got the usual clock settings. You can adjust the clock position, show seconds, and then there are a bunch of AM/PM styles. This is the normal font size that you can see right now, and this is the small one. Then similarly, we have got font sizes for the date. You can customize the date styles. There are a lot of date formats to choose from, and in the end you can also configure the position of the date. Okay, then we have got show net activity, and right now and this is, I think this, you can call this as a bug maybe. The network traffic indicators, they sometimes get hidden under the notch, and probably they could have just shown the network traffic indicators in the quick settings panel, but because of the wide notch on the Poco F1, those indicators get hidden under the notch, and they do show up when I disable some system icons. In fact, I'll quickly go to status bar items, and let me see, I can disable this, and then I can, okay, I'll just quickly go ahead and disable all those icons. And now if I open up Kiwi browser, then you can see those traffic indicators. And right now you can also see that some of the text of the indicators is getting hidden under the notch. So probably they can implement this in the quick settings panel. I think that would be better, but for those phones that don't have a notch, you wouldn't be facing this problem in the first place. Anyway, so moving on, next we have got and obviously you can configure the net activity auto height threshold. So if the speed is below this threshold, then the traffic indicators won't be shown. Okay, next up we have got the battery bar, and it doesn't show up directly. So firstly, you will have to go into the battery bar settings, and you will have to change the thickness to, I think 4 is what I find useful on my phone. You can maybe stick with 3. So you can customize the location of the battery bar. Right now you may not be able to see that properly because that is getting hidden under the notch. So status bar bottom, you can show that there, and this is useful for devices that have a notch. And then you can customize, you can also show it on top of the navigation bar or at the bottom of the navigation bar, and you can customize the color values too. And this setting is only meant for the color of the battery bar on a dark status bar. So if you have got a Substratum theme, or you have an app that has a dark color or the status bar, then this is what you can just configure the slider in here as to how the battery bar should look like in those cases. Then if you want to, you can customize the dark colors too, and this is the color range that is used for the light status bar. Next we have got custom charging color. So here you can customize the color values that you want for the battery bar at the time of charging. You can customize the light charging color and the dark charging color. And I have already told you about light colors and dark colors. This will be used on dark status bar, and this will be used on light status bars. Then you can configure the alignment, regular, center mirrored, and this is the center mirrored, and this is reversed. Then thickness you can configure, and charging animation. If you want to show enable that, then you can do that. After that, we have got customizations for the system icons. You can enable or disable the roaming indicator, VoLTE icon, and then if you want to have the data disabled icon, you can configure that. And then if you want the notification count to be shown, then you can enable that as well. Then we have got carrier label, so you can configure the position, lock screen, status bar, or both of them. Then if you want to have a custom carrier label, you can enter that. Status bar gestures, you get brightness control and double tap to sleep. And in the end, we have got status bar items. So in here you can enable or disable a bunch of icons, and if you want to show 4G instead of LTE, then there is a toggle for that too. Quick settings, we have got animations. You have a couple of animation styles, flip and rotate. So this is the flip style, and when I set that to rotate, this is the rotation style. Then you can configure the animation duration and the animation interpolator. So a lot of options. Following that, we have got the tile layout. You have got toggles for the brightness slider and auto brightness. So if you don't want either of them to be shown, then you can simply just disable them. And when I disable the switch, you can see that the brightness slider is gone from the panel now. Okay, then we have got the quick pull down. So you have got options for right and left. Basically what this will do is it will take away straight. If I swipe from the left side of the status bar, there you can see that firstly I will be getting to the notifications tray, and then I will have to swipe down again to get to the quick settings panel. Using quick pull down, I can straight away get to the quick settings panel. So that is there if you want to use it. Then we have got some advanced settings, and we have got only one setting in here, and that is off vibrate on touch. For recents, we have got slim recents, and by the way, there are these are the pie style recents are there. You don't have the option for Oreo style recents, and if you enable slim recents, then this is how slim recents look like. And there are a bunch of customization options for this as well. You can change the background color, the card background color, maximum allowed apps, show on the left edge, and there are all sorts of customizations that you can play around with. Then we have got hidden apps, and here if you want to hide any app from the recents tray, then you can add that in here, and it will just hide that app from the recents panel. Lock screen, you can enable or disable power menu on the lock screen. Fingerprint unlock, so using this option you can just unlock your phone directly using the fingerprint scanner after you switch on or reboot your phone, and this will basically bypass the pin or pattern or password, whatever you use. Then if you want the charging info to be shown on the lock screen, you can enable that. Then we have got face auto unlock, and for that obviously you must have set up trusted face. I will be showing you how to do that too. Then we have got mid screen shortcuts. Actually I think they should have named this too as bottom screen shortcuts, because that's what these are for. These are the bottom lock screen shortcuts. So yeah, these are for customizing the mic and the camera shortcuts. You can customize these using these two options, and from in here you can access all the shortcuts for all the apps that are installed on your device. Anyway, then we have got the media cover art. You can enable or disable that. You can configure the clock font size, and there are some font styles too, and also you can do the customization for the font size of the date and the font style for the date. And you probably might have noticed that the weather is not showing up on the lock screen right now, and I think that's because I disabled weather from the weather settings. So I'll quickly go that and enable that, and now you can see that the weather works. Okay, so back, and yeah, we have done with lock screen. Next we have got animations. So this is the simple fade animation. You have already seen how that works. Here is a demo again, and this is color fade. This is CRT, and this is scale. Next we have got list view animation. So this will basically animate if you are scrolling through any lists, then this is the animation configuration for that. So I'll quickly select wave right, I guess. Then we have got the list view interpolator, and this option gets activated when you have got the list view animation enabled. And following that, we have got scrolling cache. This will improve the scrolling performance. If you face any lag, then you can enable this option. Probably just what I would recommend you is to use the default enable option, and then you will notice some improvement in your scrolling performance. But as the description states, this will come at the cost of memory and probably some battery too. Toast animations, if you want to show the toast icon, this option is disabled by default. So if you want to show the app icon in the toast animation, then you can enable this option. And we have got a number of options for the animation as well. And here you can see the wave right list view animation. This is what that list view option does. So I will select slide left to right, and we get a demo as well. So following that, we have got the error configuration tabs transition effect. So this is just how this will just configure this animation. And let's say I will select flip horizontal. Yeah, so that's what this animation does. Then we have got system animations, and you can literally configure every system animation from in here. So just have a look at the different options that you get. And if you want to prevent app overrides, if you want an app not to use its default animations, and if you want these animations to be used instead, then just switch this toggle on. And these are all the options that you get in the option that you are seeing right now. They are there in all the animation settings. All right. So next we have got miscellaneous. So if you want to show the CPU info, this will currently show you the governor, the clock speed, the current clock speed, and the temperature of the CPU. So you can turn this on if you want to view the CPU info. Weather settings, weather works fine as I have already shown you, and for some reason Yahoo Weather didn't work for me, so stick with Open Weather Map and you would be fine. And also I wasn't able to get the default location to work, but custom location worked for me, so use that. Then if you want, you can also configure the condition icon pack, and probably you can find some icon packs for weather on the Play Store. So if you have got any of those installed, then you would be seeing those here and you can enable them. Then we have got wake lock blocker, and you have also got alarm blocker. So just make a backup, proceed with caution, it says that itself. So blocking alarms have the potential to cause instability, crashes, or data loss. So if you are I would recommend you to make an Android backup first, because if anything goes wrong, then you may not be able to get back into the ROM that you are using. So make a backup and only then proceed, or if you know what you are doing, then you would be on the safe side. So always make a backup when you are blocking alarms or wake locks. Then we have got interface settings. Heads up, if you want to disable heads up notifications, then you can simply toggle them off from in here, and then you can configure the peaking timeout, so 2 seconds, 4 seconds, and it goes on to 10 seconds. Then if you want the snooze timer, we have got you have it disabled, then 1 minute. So if you have got any heads up notifications, and when you just instead of swiping the heads up notifications either to the left or right, when you swipe up, then it snoozes the heads up notifications for a while. So if you want, this is the configuration for that timeout limit. By default that's 1 minute. You can configure that to whatever time limit you want. Then you have got dashboard settings. So again, if you want to have the configuration style, this is the style of the Resurrection UX configurations, the menu we are in. You want to have the tab style, the classic style, the bottom navigation. So let's check out. This is the classic style, and we were in interface, and so and this is the bottom navigation style. So you can choose whatever you want. Interface, I will quickly go back to the interface that we were running before, and using this switch icon, you can toggle back to the Resurrection UX layout that was there in Nougat, basically the classic layout. So I will just head back to the interface section, and Then you have also got dashboard conditions and dashboard suggestions. So after that, we have got the system UI tuner. Status bar, we have already covered this option. If you want to enable or disable any of icons from the status bar, then you can do that from in here. You can also trigger do not disturb mode using the volume shortcuts. If you press the volume down key after the volume is minimum, and then you press the volume down key again, then that will enable the do not disturb mode. Ambient display, always on, you can enable or disable that. Navigation bar, if you want to have the compact navigation style, or in fact I have got smart bar turned on at the moment, so I'll disable that. In fact, I'll just turn to default mode, and right now you can see that this is the compact style layout. System UI tuner, navigation bar, this is the compact style, this is the left leaning style, and this is the right leaning style, and this is what the normal layout looks like. And there's a built-in navigation bar editor, so if you want to add any button to the navigation bar, you can do that from in here. But personally what I think is that the navigation bar editor, this one is a little restricted in terms of features. Smart bar is more customizable, so I would recommend you to use that instead. But anyway, you can select which button you want to add: back, home, overview, menu / keyboard switcher, search, spacer will adjust the space between two adjacent buttons, and you can also have a left button and a right button. So there are a lot of options that you can customize, so just play around with the settings. And obviously if you want to adjust the position of any button, then you can do that using these handlebars. Okay, so I'll just quickly revert back to the stock layout, and then we have got if you want to invert the layout of if you want to invert the current layout, then you can use the switch. Lock screen settings, you can configure the left shortcut and the right shortcut. This setting is already there in the lock screen customizations. And plugins, these don't work right now. Then we have got display size, so you can configure the display size, or I think maybe this is just an option in here. You can configure this option in the display settings, so it's not accessible from in here for some reason, but anyway. Then you can customize the custom LCD density. If you want to change the LCD density, then you can do that from in here. Basically this is if you want to have a custom PPI, then you can change that from in here. Volume panel settings, so if you want to configure the volume dial-up timeout, then you can do that from in here. Then we have got smart pixels, and this is useful for those of you who have got devices with the AMOLED panels, so you can enable smart panels. So what this will do is this will shut off the pixels to reduce power consumptions, percent of pixels to disable, auto enable on battery saver, so you can configure all that. Font, if you want to use a custom font, then you can do that from in here. There are limited options that are available right now, but if you want to use a custom font, if you further want to customize the font, there are a couple of options that are supplied with Resurrection Remix. But if you want to go beyond these, then you can use Substratum, and the ROM supports Substratum too. And talking about Substratum though, you will have to perform a reboot every time you apply an overlay. Then we have got Pi control, so you can configure the theme. This is automatically the theme. This is the white theme, and then this is the dark theme. Okay, so I like the dark one, so I will keep that. Then you can configure the battery indicator, text only, circle only, or you can keep both of them. Network indicator, you want Wi-Fi only, mobile network only, or both of them. And Pi gravity, so you can using this you can select where the Pi controls will be placed, left, right, or bottom. So personally I have them on the left side, and that is the default option. So there you can see the current time, and you can see the Wi-Fi network that I'm connected to, the network name, and the current battery level. And then you can also go to settings, or you can just exit the Pi controls. Okay, gesture anywhere, this will basically just place gesture bar. So if you can configure the gestures from in here, and if you just tap on this section that is being highlighted right now, and if you draw just some kind of gesture, then you can trigger shortcuts, and obviously you can customize the area where where the gesture anywhere screen will show up. So you can configure that trigger region, the trigger position, and the trigger height. Okay, so once you do that, then all you have to do is just add gestures. You can add gestures to execute shortcuts, launch an app, and all that stuff. So I can use, say I can have a C gesture to start the clock. So I'll just tap on this, I'll draw a C, and it opens up clock. Okay, so I'll just disable that, and we will move on. You can enable or disable screenshot sounds, and if you want to disable power plus volume down screenshot sound, then there is an option for that too, although I think these two options should be unified. But anyway, screenshot type, you can take full screen screenshots, and you can also take partial screenshots. Okay, that's all what we have. Under miscellaneous, you get show the floating button, and we are talking about this floating button. And when you tap on this, you can check for updates, restart the system UI, reset the default settings, about RROS, toggle to the classic layout that was there. Then you have got wake on plug, vibrate on USB plug, the 3-finger gesture to take a screenshot, smart notification sounds. Then you have got screen on notifications, less annoying in call notifications, show CPU info, and you have seen here that many settings are being repeated. Then you have got a blink flashlight on call. So if those of you who are interested in that, this setting is in there. Then if you want lower brightness, if night light is enabled, then you can configure this too. And lastly, the audio panel, you can enable everything if you want to, and this is what we get then. And I think it's going really fast. The dialog box is going away very fast because I have configured that dialog timeout that way. So now you should see this for a while. Okay, and for further settings, you can just tap on setting and it will take you to the sound settings. And then you can configure the volume dialog timeout, and that setting is being repeated again. And this is where you can configure the navigation bar. We have already seen the stock navigation bar editor in the system UI, and the same is being repeated here. Navigation, if you go to navigation, then this is from where you can configure smart bar and flink. So if you want to stick with the stock navigation bar and still customize it, then I would recommend you to go with the smart bar. So I've already done a dedicated video on how you can customize smart bar, fling, and pulse. So if you want to check that out, that would be linked in the description. And there is a double tap to sleep on the empty space in the navigation bar. And you can also customize the touch animations, the long press delay, and input method and media actions, and the context buttons position. So all that stuff can be customized. Then you can also configure the portrait height and the width of the navigation bar in the landscape mode. And in the end, we have got pulse. Again, I have done a dedicated video on this, so check the description. And gestures, these are enabled, but for gestures, make sure that you have the navigation bar disabled. So I will just disable that. And okay, I have got pie controls enabled, by the way, so you can either use those if you are interested in that, or you can just enable the gestures. So if you swipe up from the left or the right side, you will go back. If you want to go home, then just swipe up from the center, and swipe up from the center and hold, then you will go to the recent string. Okay, so let's use these for the remainder of the video. Then you have got the volume rocker settings. You can use them to wake the device, answer call, control the music playback. So this is basically if your device is switched off and if you want to skip music tracks, then you can use this option. Then you have got keyboard cursor control, and if you want to reorient the volume keys when the device is rotated, then you can enable this option. and there are a lot of settings for the power menu too. So we have got a number of options. On the go mode is present. Next we have got you can also use the power button to end the call, long press for the torch, and you can also customize the time limit. 10 minutes is the maximum. About, and from in here you can view the change log of the ROM, and this is just the first build, so there are no changes mentioned. And you can view the available features, share the ROM, the drill. If you come across any bug, then you will have to follow this. Then you can visit the website of Resurrection Remix, view their GitHub, find their Facebook page, Twitter, Telegram, Google+. You can find all the social media links of Resurrection Remix in the about section, and some information about the guys who are behind the ROM is available here. And by the way, this build for the Poco F1 has been compiled by Akhil Narang. I don't say this for a lot of devs, but the ROMs that are compiled by this guy, they are known for their stability, and this ROM is really very stable. So trust me, if you are a Poco F1 user, then you can also use his derp kernel. If you are on any other ROM, then make sure you use his kernel, because that's really stable too. And as I've already told you, I was talking to a Redmi Note 5 Pro user the other day, and he told me that there are a lot of other custom kernels available for the Redmi Note 5 Pro, but Akhil's derp kernel was recently made available for the Redmi Note 5 Pro, and that guy told me that the kernel, that there is a lot of difference between Akhil's kernel and those other kernels in terms of stability. So this guy is something really special. I don't say that for a lot of developers again, but anything that has been made by this guy, that's special. That would be really stable. You won't be facing any issues at all. So yeah, this guy works great basically. Then you have got the apps and notifications, so nothing worth mentioning in here. Basically everything, you have got everything that you get in stock Android Pie. Time spent in apps will open up digital well-being. So yeah, if you are interested in that. And by the way, digital well-being is also available at the end of the settings menu. And battery settings, so battery manager is enabled automatically. You can turn it off. And we have got battery saver and performance. You can turn on the extreme power saver mode, and if you want that to be triggered automatically, then you have got 5%, 15% and 25% as the battery levels on which the battery saver can be triggered. Battery percentage, if you want the percentage to be shown in the status bar, then you can enable that, but I think this setting is being repeated again. But anyway, and in the $3 menu you can view the detailed battery usage stats, and yeah, show the full device usage. Then you can view the screen on times, voice calls, and the detailed stats basically. And display settings, we have got brightness level, adaptive brightness, and live display. So by the way, you can change the color profile. This option is only available for the Poco F1 users. Standard or sRGB, you can choose whatever you want, but I like the display configuration out of the box, so I'm not going to change this. But you have got different color modes, they are available. So I'll just go with standard, and you can configure the display mode. This is the day mode, and this is the night mode. And obviously you can also change the color levels as per your needs. That one, the above slider, was for the day, and this one is there for the night. So you can configure the display to your utmost liking. Then we have got a reading mode. I'll just quickly go back and set this off to day. Okay, and I'll just probably scroll this down maybe to 7500. Okay. Then if you want a reading mode for nighttime reading, this will basically turn your screen to black and white. So you can enable this if you want to. And color calibration, you can customize the RGB values, and in the end, if you want, you can adjust all the different parameters of your display: hue, saturation, intensity, contrast. Okay, so next up we have got styles. So you can customize the accent color, the background color, and everything. Then we have got sleep timeout. The minimum is 15 seconds and the maximum limit is 30 minutes. Font size can be configured, display size, and I was telling you we weren't able to access the display size option from this config from the resurrection tools setting, but we can do that from under the display settings. Then full screen apps, if you want to force some of the apps to use the full screen aspect ratio, then you can enable the setting. This is only applicable for newer devices with that modern 18:9 or higher aspect ratios. And screensaver, you can have that. It is set to as clock by default. And then you have got double tap to wake the screen, and this is obviously dependent on whether your device supports it. And double tap to sleep on the status bar is also there, and in the end you can customize the font. We have already come across this setting before. Sound settings, you can configure the different volume levels, and you can also now playing is enabled, and now playing worked fine, by the way. So probably I will, if you want me to show you, I don't have any music playing in the background right now, but I can do a separate video regarding this if you want me to, just if you want me to do a test video regarding this, just showing how well this feature works, then let me know. I can do that, and that would be a quick video. I can do that, so let me know. And also you can configure the phone ringtones for the sim 1, sim 2, and you can also tweak the notification sounds and the alarm sounds. And also you can add custom ringtones if I'm not wrong, and that option is there right in the end. And lastly, you can customize the dialpad tone, screens, screen locking sounds, charging sounds, and screenshot sounds, touch vibration, and in the end we have got a direct sound enhancer. And this is being added to a lot of devices now, but again the support will depend on your device. It may vary, but for the Poco F1 users, this is in there. You can configure, there are a lot of headset options to choose from. I already mentioned this in my LineageOS review, but again you can just play around with the different settings, see which one is applicable for your earphones. If your earphone is mentioned in here, then obviously you are going to choose that, but in case you are running a different pair of earphones, just play around with the different options, and you will be able to make out which headset type works best for you. And in the end you can configure the sound presets. If you have a liking for any particular preset, then you can choose that from in here. Then we have got storage settings, nothing worth mentioning in here. Accessibility, well, we have got power button and scroll, but we have already seen that. And mono audio, if you are and this setting can come in handy if you are listening through only one of your earphones, then you can convert stereo audio to mono using this option. And in the end we have got the system settings. I have already told you about digital well-being. I think you will be familiar with that. In the end we have got the system settings. Buttons, we have already covered these. Yeah, and basically these are the same settings, and in fact the power menu settings are different, but obviously the power menu that was there in Resurrection Remix tools, that was more customizable. And then yeah, you have basically this repetition of the settings that we have seen before. And again the same is the case with the status bar. Everything that we just saw, that has already been covered up. And system profiles, you can activate profiles if you want to. If you want a profile to be triggered, you can set up if you're connecting to a particular Wi-Fi network and then you want a profile to be triggered, then you can do that. Or you can also set up a profile to be triggered when you are connected to a particular Bluetooth device, so on connect or on disconnect. And then configure profile using current device settings. Then you can change the name of the profile and what do you want when you are connected to the to that profile. Do you want to leave the Bluetooth unchanged, or you want to turn it on or off? So you can do that. So if you are leaving your home, then you can have a profile enabled that when I'm disconnected from the home network, then you can turn the Bluetooth on, so that if you travel by car and your car uses Bluetooth, then you can probably have that kind of a setup that when you leave your home network, when you are disconnected from your home Wi-Fi, then this profile will be enabled and your Bluetooth will be turned on. And when you are getting back at your home, and when your phone gets disconnected from your car Bluetooth, then you can enable Wi-Fi. So you can have a setup like this. This was just what I was able to tell you on from the top of my head, but you can have this is how basically you can use profiles. And similarly, you can customize GPS, Wi-Fi, auto sync data, and there are a lot of other settings that you can customize. Okay, and gestures, we have already talked about that. We have talked about the full screen gestures, and there are settings for jump to the camera and prevent ringing by pressing the power and the volume up key simultaneously. And yeah, that's all what we have. And the ROM does come in with its built-in OTA updater. And as far as the applications go, then I'll just be talking about benchmarks in a minute. But you have got audio FX is in there, but direct sound, that is for earphones, and this one is applicable for speakers. So you can customize the sound output for both the earphones and speakers. And so audio FX is in there by default. You get a browser application. The Google camera mod worked fine for me. And the stock camera application is the Snapdragon camera. And again, this may vary for your device, but you can customize a lot of things in here, to white balance, anti-banding, power shutter, touch focus duration, exposure, picture size, picture quality, everything can be customized. Okay. FM radio is also in there. You get an email application too, file browser. That's what we get in stock pipe 2. That is the file browser that is present in here. And you also get a nice gallery application. And by the way, the gallery application also supports gestures for videos. Okay, I'll just play that, in fact, if you want me to. So you can configure the sound and you can configure the brightness, and there are also sliding controls for changing for seeking the video playback. Okay, that's all what we have in settings. And there is also a nice image editor that is built into the ROM, and the ROM is not rooted out of the box. You will have to flash Magisk or some other root client to obtain root access. And MI Explorer is not there by default. You do get a music application, and Substratum support, I have already told you that you will Substratum works only in rooted mode. Okay, and now let's get to the benchmarks. I don't believe in benchmarks personally. I'm more of a real life type of guy who judges a ROM performance only by seeing how the ROM actually performs, not in synthetic benchmarks. I'm not a believer of that. But anyway, since a lot of you have asked me to do benchmark tests, so here are some results. I think I did this one today. Yeah, so these are some of the results. Actually, these benchmarks were a bit subpar in performance. If you are just strictly sticking to benchmarks, then the performance of Resurrection Remix was a bit subpar in comparison to LineageOS. But I haven't had any issues in real life. But anyway, the Poco F1 has the Snapdragon 845. That's the most powerful chipset on the market right now. So I haven't experienced any lag or anything. But if you just go by benchmarks, then the performance is a bit subpar. The read and write speeds are probably just higher by a few megabytes in the benchmarks for LineageOS. And Tutu, I got a score of 231,000. On MIUI you get a score of about 290 to 95,000, and on LineageOS I remember getting a score of around 280,000, or it was 270,000, something like that. So again, the performance in synthetic benchmarks is lagging in Resurrection Remix. And in Geekbench, I think I got scores of go to history, and there you can see I got a score of 2402 and 8912, and below I think this was the score of LineageOS. So that was 2418 and 7909. So Resurrection Remix is a bit better in terms of benchmarks in Geekbench. And PC Mark, and these are the scores that I got. I got 8364 in the test that I ran today, and 8186 is the score that I got while running LineageOS. And yeah, and I think the average for the Poco F1 is 7982. So the performance on custom ROMs is a bit better than the average score. Okay, so yeah, that's all what we have in terms of benchmarks, and I haven't had any problems, and we're almost done with the video. So I'll just quickly go ahead and show you the quick setting tiles. So these are the quick setting tiles that are enabled by default, and these are the ones that you can add on. So a lot of options to choose from. And coming to the launcher, you get both Trebuchet and Pixel launcher, but currently I'm using the Pixel launcher, and here you have settings for notification dots, at a glance widget, then you can add new icons, add icons for new apps to the home screen, display the Google app, suggestions, allow home screen rotation, change the icon type, and all that. But Trebuchet is also in there. So yeah, I also have a video for Trebuchet. If you want to check that out, that would be linked in the description. And you can also view the wallpapers quickly. These are the on-device wallpapers, and you do get Google wallpapers, so there are no restrictions in terms of customizations that way. And widgets, we have got widgets for the calendar, clock, contacts, email, gallery, and all those settings are all those widgets are in there. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and subscribe to the channel for more ROM reviews and other tech videos. So thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day, take care, and I'll see you guys.